with HardRockChick.com, and I'm here with Adam of She Wants Revenge.
Hi.
We're here in Disneyland. Are you a fan of Disneyland?
It's the happiest place on earth.
Really?
No. Or the saddest, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. So you've been on tour promoting your new album, Valleyheart.
Yes.
How has that been going?
Amazing. Out of all the things you could do in life, or I could do in life, I get to be creative every day, and there's people that like what we do as a band who come to our shows and support us as artists. So, you know, a lot of people may think it's very tedious and kind of hard work, but the hard work pays off every night when you're in a room with people in it that, you know, are there to support what you do and like what you do.
Absolutely. So I've been a fan since almost the beginning. Valleyheart seems a little bit happier of an album to me than the first one. Would you say that?
No.
No?
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say that it may seem happier because we left behind the things that we had already said musically, which were a lot of quote-unquote sad progressions, minor keys, that without any vocals on that kind of stuff, you're immediately reminded of kind of sad feelings when you hear those type of progressions, I guess. But we kind of said that as a band. We've evolved as people and as musicians. We're different people now in our lives than we were back then. And when we went in to make this record, we just said, if we make anything that sounds like something we've done, let's trash it and start something else. So this time, there's a lot of songs that start in major keys, which are going to sound happier than ones that start in minor keys to begin with. But I think if you really listen to like what he's talking about, it's not really as happy as a lot of people are making it out to be, or may, you know, whatever you interpret it as is whatever you interpret it as. But, you know, for being part of the band, I can tell you that it's just as, I mean, the first record, the first two records may seem sad, but they're actually rather hopeful. But because they're all in a kind of like minor keys with half steps, they seem sadder than they are. I think it's kind of the same with this, where they seem happier than they are, but if you really dig deep into a lot of the songs that you may think are quote-unquote happier than the first record or the second record, they may not be. I don't know, but that's your interpretation. I know it sounds happier. I know that it's much more hopeful than some of the things that we've done, but I don't know if it's actually a lot happier. Maybe a little bit.
So you're doing some visual accompaniment to this album in a different way than you've done in the past. And it seems like, you know, over the course of time that She Wants Revenge has always been kind of the visual band. How is that such an important part of the band to you?
You know, our music comes from being two guys that grew up in the San Fernando Valley, listening to K-Rock. All the music that informed us as musicians was music from, you know, late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s, basically. We're also film buffs. So a lot of people have said that our music is somewhat cinematic before you even get to the visual part. The music is cinematic. And I think that comes from two guys that are just learned everything we know about romance and life and music through like the movies that we watch and the soundtracks that came along with them. So it's always played a really important part to us to make sure that not just the music is what we want it to be, but all the visuals are just as important to us. Other people have directed videos for us in the past. Justin directed videos for us in the past, but this time we decided, I've always wanted to direct some stuff. I've been kind of becoming more of a photographer over the last couple years, and I've always wanted to do videos, so we said, you know, why not do a video for every song, and we'll direct and write all of them ourselves, which the most important part of that is everything we've ever done as a band has been by committee. Whether it's the music, even though Justin directed those videos, I had a lot to do with them, whether I wrote the concept for them or I was standing next to him going like, do that or do this. He directed them, don't get me wrong, but I had some influence on what they were. So the most important part of us doing 5 each is, for the first time as it pertains to this band, you get to see what we each bring to the table stylistically. So if you watch, I think we've only done 1 each, and I think it's pretty well represented, our styles in those 2 videos. But I think when it's all said and done and you look at my 5 and you look at his 5, you could step back and go like, I can kind of see what Adam brings to it musically as well, just looking at what I do visually. And like I said, it's really important for us to like have visual representations of what we do. And now I think it's even more important, because this record is about where we come from, that we do it ourselves.
That's a great segue into my next question.
All right.
I know you and Justin have been friends for a really long time. How does that play into your working relationship in the band?
We haven't, we grew up in the same neighborhood. We were kind of friends, but we were only friends because we had peripheral friends and mutual friends. We only really became close friends when we got together to make music. Now, having said that, we know each other really well. I respect him more than anybody in my life. Everything I've learned as a musician, pretty much, as a songwriter for sure, comes from, studying the bands I grew up listening to, but more importantly from what he's taught me. I look up to him as a performer and as a musician and as a songwriter and as a friend and as just as a human. So I think he has the same type of respect for me, I assume, in certain ways, maybe not the same ones, but we respect each other to the point where we trust each other. And it works out well in the studio, because I know that if he says, you're going down the wrong road with that keyboard part, we're not going to argue about it. I'm just going to move on and do something else. And I think the same with him. We have our arguments, don't get me wrong, but like, if I tell him that vocal melody, you could beat that, he might get mad at me, but in the end of the day, when I come back the next day, it'll be different and it'll be better. So I think knowing each other, for a long time, sort of, but becoming really close very quickly and trusting each other as musicians and songwriters and as friends plays into us kind of challenging each other and pushing each other to the limits to make the best art we can, whether it's visually or musically.
Great. I know that musically both of you come from a very hip-hop focused background, and then what you're doing with She Wants Revenge is very different. A lot of people consider those 2 genres kind of mutually exclusive, but I would disagree. What are your thoughts on that?
We've made a lot of different types of music.
Mm-hmm.
We like a lot of different types of music. If somebody wanted to debate me on the exclusivity of the 2 genres, I would ask them first if they like what we do, if they like Tear You Apart. And if they answered yes, I would say, let's just break that song down. If you slow that beat down from 182 BPMs to 92, it's a hip-hop beat. It's got an 808 and an 808 snare, and it's a hip-hop beat. If you break down his delivery, he's delivering those lyrics as an MC would over a hip-hop track, because he is an MC, and he hadn't become the delivery is that of an MC. It's a hip-hop song, just treated as whatever genre you want to put it in. Some people might say goth. We think goth doesn't exist. Exactly. So, I mean, in everything we do, there's hip-hop elements, from the way that we write the music, the way that we attack the tracks. It's a hip-hop mentality. Our first 2 records were put together as if you were putting together hip-hop beats. Our songs are put together like with a hip-hop mentality. Like when you write, like this record is very different from the first 2 because we approached it as songwriters rather than hip-hop guys. But if you look at the first 2 records, we built the tracks as you would build hip-hop tracks. You start out with a drum beat, and you add elements to them until they become whatever it's going to become. That's how we wrote the first 2 records. Is we started with the beat, I'd lay a bass line, he'd lay a guitar, and we kind of built them rather than sitting down and going, let's start in G, what's the progression, and then once we had the progression and the chorus and the bridge, then we figure out how we want to treat the song and what that song is going to become. But in the first 2 records, it was as if we were doing a hip-hop record, really.
That's fascinating.
So there's a lot more hip-hop in what we do than people even care to want to get, dig in and find out. But if anybody ever thinks that we're crossing any funny lines by going from doing hip-hop at one point in our lives and doing something else now, I think it would be safe to say that it's pretty silly to think that people can't do whatever they want and or evolve as people or as musicians and do as much as they want. So people say to us all the time, oh man, I wish you guys would have done another Tear You Apart. And we're like, so what you're saying as a fan of this band is you want us to stifle our creativity and continue doing the same thing over and over for your benefit. We make music for ourselves first and foremost, and fortunately for us, there's people out there that like it. We would never continue to do the same thing over and over. The first 2 records are companion pieces, and they're close together, from the artwork to the music. One we refer to kind of loosely as The Night Before, the second one is The Morning After, and they kind of go together. So we didn't really evolve because we made this so much when we made the second record, because we made the first record, we toured a lot, then we made the second record. We hadn't really figured out who we were yet as a band. But having had 4 years off, we figured it out, and here we are.
Awesome. If there was one song that you would say is most personal to you, which one would it be?
Well, on the first record, there's a instrumental called Disconnect. It has to be that. I mean, it's the only song that's just me basically on it. But I went into the studio, it was raining outside. I put a microphone outside, or I opened the door, I put a microphone out in the doorway, recording the rain. I went back inside. Something had just happened in my life that was really personal and very depressing. And I put headphones on and I literally just played that. That's maybe the second take. I wrote it and then I did it again, and then it went on the record with the rain, and I was expressing something that was inside of me that was pretty sad, and every time I play it, I think about it, or what caused me to write that. So that's absolutely the most personal, because I don't sing and he writes all the lyrics. There are parts of songs that are somewhat personal to me, but it's really the one, there's 2 or 3 that I've done on my own that I get to actually express more than just being part of the band, but actually express myself, and that one more than the other 2. So
I could have guessed that from watching you play it on stage.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
So your songs are often about love and lust. What's the best piece of love advice you've ever received?
Ever received, huh? Probably. I tend to be attracted to the same type of girl. Mm-hmm. Like I say, I look up to Justin. He's always given me pretty solid advice. And I think he said something, I'm paraphrasing here, sometimes you're never going to find the perfect girl. You keep going after the same girls. Has it worked out for you up until this point in your life? And then I would say no. And then he would say, well, maybe it's time to not look for your perfect girl and go outside of the type of women that you're normally attracted to and find one that may not be, that certain look or that vibe, and try something new, which is where I'm at right now in my life. So I'm trying new things. I think that was the best advice anyone's ever given me.
That's great. So I would say that you're a very open Twitter user.
Sure.
And as a fan, I know what that means to me, but I was just curious how you look at it and how it's maybe changed your life, or like the way you think about things, or if you ever hold back when you're using it?
I definitely hold back.
Yeah.
I mean, I say very personal things, but like, I have a limit.
Sure.
Justin, again, gave me some Twitter advice one day in the very beginning when he thought I was going past the limit.
Oh.
I said a few things. I was dwelling on, I think it was like my friend Adam passed away, and I was like talking a lot about, I was repeating myself a lot about how I felt about it, how I missed him. Like, Justin was like, there's got to be some stuff that, you got to save some stuff for yourself, dude. Like, you should be funny and like not let it all out there. You need to keep a little bit for yourself, which I did do. I started pulling back. So like, I don't know. Twitter is an interesting thing. People use it for different reasons. Some people in the end of the day, it can work as an amazing promotional tool.
Absolutely.
So if you use it as such, then I personally think it's interesting and to your benefit to use whatever you can, whatever parts of your personality may be most attractive to the type of people you're trying to promote to. I don't know how to put it. I say funny things as much as possible, and people tend to like react to that, and they like it, so I continue to do it. Mm-hmm. I tried an experiment where like I used to talk a lot of bad stuff. Like I would be very sarcastic and pessimistic a lot of the times, and I did an experiment where every time I wanted to say something negative or sarcastic, I said something super positive, and it actually changed the way that I think somewhat. And people reacted to that, and they're like, it's really nice to like go on Twitter and not see some guy calling every girl like a whore or a slut or like something degrading, but actually saying how women are all beautiful, which is honestly what I think. So like, but in the end of the day, every couple days I do say, we have a show, like,
yeah.
But I try to defer to the band page, but I, for whatever reason, have more people on mine. So, it's a personal thing. I don't mind letting people into my life. I don't let them too far in. But, I imagine if I were young and I had the type of technology kids have today, mm-hmm. and I imagine the type of bands I looked up to as a younger man, what would I want to know about Dave Gahan? Not to compare myself to Depeche Mode or Dave Gahan or Martin Gore, but like, that would be so cool if like I knew what was going on in his life, not just where he was playing a show.
Right.
And I go, I've already said so many things about myself, why stop now? Like, I don't mind, like I said, I got to keep a few things for myself, but I don't mind telling people, like, if I have, like, a health problem or, like, I think, people relate to a lot of those things, and, like, it's nice for people to go, wow, like, he's sad too, like, or he's experienced something that I've experienced before, and, like, there's someone out there that's experienced that, and it's nice to be able to relate to people on all kinds of different levels. So, it's a good release. It's a good way to like, for me to say something and then like get a reaction from somebody and go like, it's okay, dude. Like I've gone through the same thing before. So it works both ways.
So to wrap this up, what can we expect next from She Wants Revenge and from you personally?
We are just going to continue supporting our record. We have plans to do a lot more touring domestically and internationally. Festivals coming up, including the Sunset Music Festival. And I am working on a solo record that I've been working on for like ever. Mm-hmm. That's featuring all my favorite female vocalists, which hopefully I'll finish before the year is done. And I just started a super secret side band that I can't tell you about.
Oh, come on.
No way.
Exclusive.
No, can't do it.
Well, I tried.
I can maybe give it to you first.
Okay.
When it's done. But I can't let the cat out of the bag yet.
All right.
I'll tell you when we're done with it.
All right. Well, I look forward to that. And I look forward to your show.
Thanks.
And I really hope you play Black Liner Run because I haven't heard that song in forever and I love it.
Right before we got off stage, I said, we're doing like one of the longest sets we've ever done tonight.
Oh.
We're playing a lot of stuff that we haven't played on this tour. We're playing a lot of stuff we haven't played in years. And right before we got off stage at Soundcheck, I said we should play Black Line Run tonight, and Justin said no.
Oh, well, I'm gonna go yell at him now.
But we're playing at Canyon in Agura on Sunday.
Oh.
And then we're doing a secret show on Monday that I'll tell you about. But we won't play it tonight, but I will make him do it. If you want to come to one of those shows, I'll make him do it.
All right, I like that.
And maybe the Adele cover we've been doing.
Oh, sweet. Okay, well, thank you, Adam.
Cool, no worries.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.